Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News on 3FM. My name is Beatrice Adu. The news is also live on Kasmi 107.1 FM and across the world at 3news.com. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. This afternoon, Electoral Commission under increasing pressure to allow for an audit of voters' register as opposition NDC gears up for a nationwide protest. Also coming up, the jostle for the hearts and minds of the electorate in Key Swing region, Greater Accra, intensifies with both NDC and NPP flag bearers pitching camp in the national capital. We have updates from the campaign trail. Much later on the program, Speaker of Parliament Albon Bagbin expresses disappointment in President Afful Adu for failing to show exemplary leadership in managing the affairs of the state. And also coming up, senior staff of public universities begin indefinite strike over government failure to address demands for improved working conditions. Thank you very much for joining us. Let's begin from the Electoral Commission because the EC is coming under intense pressure to allow for an audit of the voters' register, following a demand by main opposition National Democratic Congress. The Dean of the University of Professional Studies, Accra Law School, Professor Ernest Kofi Abochi, is the latest to join in the call, urging the EC to accept the request. In a post on his X platform, Professor Abochi said auditing the electoral roll will be in the interest of the Commission itself, since it will afford it the opportunity to dispel the allegations or concerns raised by the National Democratic Congress. He wrote, quote, "The EC's position on the request for an audit of the register is baffling and even troubling, with an exclamation sign, for even if they deny the merit of the claims, audits by their nature confirm or refuse allegations, and for a constitutional body whose mandate is rooted in perception of fairness and neutrality, it is in its own interest and that of Ghana's that it dispels, not fight, allegations of a bloated register through an audit," unquote. Now, the law professor joins a host of others who believe the credibility of the electoral roll is crucial going into the December elections. The EC had turned down a request from the NDC for an independent forensic audit of the provisional voters register. This rejection came after a closed-door meeting with the opposition party following concerns regarding alleged discrepancies in the voter roll. The NDC plans to hit the street in a nationwide demonstration tomorrow to pile pressure on the EC to succumb to its demand. The NDC flag bearer, John Mahama, sums up their concerns with the register and the need to mount pressure on the electoral management body to ensure transparency and accountability. Listen.
Our issues with the Electoral Commission are not because we don't like the commissioners or the EC. Our issues with the Electoral Commission are because we want peace during and after the election, so that all of us can have confidence in the electoral process.
And we'll hear more from John Mahama, but let's speak to the boss of Imani Africa, Franklin Kojo, so he'll be joining us very shortly. Let's just hear more of what the former President John Mahama said.
And the only way we can get the EC to do his job is to put pressure on the EC to do it. And that is why on the 17th of this month, that is next Tuesday, we're doing a demonstration to the EC office. And that demonstration is not only NDC, it is all Ghanaians who are willing to join the demonstration, so that we go and tell EC to sit up and do its work properly.
And you heard John Mahama, he's the flag bearer of the opposition NDC. Well, the Deputy EC Chair, Bosman Asari, maintains there will be no need for a forensic audit of the register.
When you talk about a forensic audit, it sends a signal that you have a massive bloat of the register, which we don't have. So as far as the Commission is concerned, we think that there is no need for an audit. And we give the register to the parties in 2020. We gave it to them in 2023. So we think that the parties themselves should be in a position to be able to assess whether all the details they themselves put together during the registration are intact.
And you had Bosman Asare, meanwhile, Director of Legal Affairs for the opposition NDC, Eduji Tamaklo, maintains the EC must allow an audit to assure citizens of the accuracy of its database.
It is only a person who is afraid who should be running away from an audit. And so tomorrow, and like we have notified the police pursuant to the Public Order Act, we will get to the street. In all the 16 regions of Ghana, we'll get to the street, we'll send our message. We are inviting the international and diplomatic agencies to look at what the Electoral Commission is doing and not blame anybody for anything that happens tomorrow. It's as simple as that. Why wouldn't you allow for the audit? My dear, why wouldn't you? Just allow for an audit, and the audit can be done within 2 days ahead of the election. And that would ensure greater transparency and everybody will be happy.
Well, some will make the argument that, time and again, there have been demonstrations and protests over various issues in the country, and these protests do not bring the solutions that are expected from the people. Do you think that this is the right way to go? Why not seek legal redress if you have issues with the audit?
You see, the last time when we took the Electoral Commission to the Supreme Court, the occasion came for the Electoral Commission to explain to Ghanaians why it kept making errors.
And you heard that the Director of Legal Affairs for the opposition NDC, Franklin Kuja, boss of Imani Africa, joins us live on the line. Good afternoon to you, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Good afternoon.
The understanding we have is that you're part of those who think that the Electoral Commission mustn't necessarily have this audit. Can you tell us why, beyond the argument coming from Kofi Abuchi, for instance?
Well, as you know, we have a running battle of the Electoral Commission since 2019, when we realized that there was quite fraudulence in the number of processes, procurement processes. And of course, that followed all the other election issues that they had. To be clear, you know my position and you know Imani's position. We've never trusted this EC in the first place. You know what they did to us on South. So we never trusted them at all. As far as this matter goes, you have evidence, and I'm convinced beyond reasonable doubt that all the evidence the NDC has provided are actually true. And to the extent that the EC commissioners have been quite funny at trying to explain themselves, leaves so much to be desired. So I strongly support the call for audit, and I think we've done it before. This is not the first time, and they should allow it to be done. If there's nothing to hide, why don't have someone else audit your work anyway? That's the way it should be. With the things I've seen are quite deliberate. Nobody can tell me these are minor administrative errors. These are deliberate infractions, and they have a long way to go to undermine the integrity of the election. So an audit is in order.
Irrespective of this mounting pressure, as it were, the Electoral Commission is insisting that it has built-in mechanism that has resolved the anomalies identified. With
had the EC been one truly independent and had not appendages of the current party government in power, with people at sensitive positions as the EC's IT issues, nobody would have bothered. But to add that to the litany of infractions they committed in the not too distant past, and the outright lies and the things they've done, you'll be trusting the EC at their own risk. And I think that's the position the NDC has taken. I don't think it's only the NDC. I think the movement for change has also spoken. And other independent minds. We just read out of Kofi Abuchi, my good friend.
Yes.
All these are very rich, praise minds in this country. They've all been calling for this type of audit. So why would we not allow them?
You trust the EC at your own peril, you say. Some have suggested...
Course, without a doubt. Now, this is the EC. That is a procurement. I don't think you guys have forgotten so soon. That procured these biometric machines and rigged the process entirely. The bidder, the winner who they claim had the highest score, they rigged the rules. They rigged the figures. 85 plus 13 was supposed to be 98 or so. They gave it 106. And the second person got 102. But the first person was adjusted to the one who got 86 plus 13 and a total of 98 turned out to have the bid. So you can't trust this EC at all.
And of course,
I'm surprised that any significant number of people even trust it. Look, all the Afful barometer surveys have shown clearly that EC has the lead. It's part of those least trusted public institutions.
And indeed, we read your piece on the BVDs and all of that, but others have also suggested that perhaps where we've reached, EC's eminent committee or the Peace Council should step in. Is that necessary?
Yeah, madam, you've forgotten that the EC stepped up the whole body at the point in time, I think the 2020 to advise it. It contains eminent persons, religious persons. They didn't even respect it. And partly because the EC now has money, the state visits all the money it needs to prosecute an election. Those times when the civil society, international donors were part of it, they dare not do the way they are behaving. So the question you asked me now, I think a lot of pressure should be powered by independence. But look, they don't even respect the Peace Council and all those religious groups. They just don't respect them. And that's what incompetence does to you, if not being fraudulent as well.
We'll have to end it here. Thank you very much, Franklin Kujo. He is the boss of E-Money Africa. Let's head to the Ashanti region now, where we understand the NDC is meeting the press. William Evans Income is our Northern Bureau Chief. He joins us live on the line. William, you've been monitoring this event. What can you tell us from there?
Well, so they've been making some specifics in regards of some discrepancies that they claim to have identified in a current provisional voters register. So, for instance, they've cited some constituencies where they were able to identify these discrepancies. Well, I've been speaking with Dr. Frank Amakohene, and this is how he put it.
I'm sure we don't have that yet, but if you can tell us more as regards what's going on there.
Right. So, specifically, they've mentioned inflated figures in some constituencies, specifically polling stations in some constituencies that they have been able to identify. And they've also mentioned what they claim to be discrepancies in the voters' transfer process. And so these are some of the main reasons why tomorrow they are hitting the street to register their displeasure. Now, we also understand that they are starting from the party office, which is which is Amakum, and then they will march through some principal streets of Kumasi and then end up at the EC office where they present petition to the Electoral Commission.
Thank you very much, William Evans Income. We stay with the NDC because the flag bearer, John Mahama, says the NDC will audit the Greater Accra Resilient and Integrated Development Garrett project when the party assumes power in 2025. The government has received close to $200 million from the World Bank to construct drains and deal with the perennial flood of Accra suburbs. It has been suggested the funds have been misapplied with little work to show. Mahama, who is currently on a campaign tour in the Greater Accra region, says the issues will be looked into.
Abraham Woho, Minya Ketwa, SAO, Obebuaye, Obebabe Yigata Numama, free of charge. Sanko Foya, Edi Intro, Sema Manu contract, maybe 200 million Ghana cedis. Ningina ne intro. Echo Mokaya, Emoka said, a year on your bium, and Ojaye. Osha Gary Dumwa, Yasa Tisika, Sesa Odo River Ya, 43 million, Yache Dino, Yasa Mesika, Se Yasan Eyi Odo River Num. Nasan Yomano, and Yadia, Yesika, Yadia Mayina, and Kofo Atam, a person of Modecono, and Yadia Yabepenesa of Modebeko. Forensic audit and was our project.
And you heard former President John Mahama, flag bearer of the NDC, saying there will be a forensic audit into the Garrett project. It's some 14 minutes past the hour of 12. This is the Midday News here on 3FM 92.7. When we come back, we'll tell you what the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagbin, has been saying, as well as the whereabouts of the NPP flag bearer, Dr. Mahmoud Baumia. Don't go away.
Everyone is running to Bills. Enjoy the peace of mind that comes with acquiring any of our loan facilities. For whoever you are and whatever you're doing, Bills has a product for you. No susu, no deposits. All you need is your Ghana card. Call 0302-200-390 or 0596-928-33 today and live a bill-free life. Bills Microcredit is licensed by the Bank of Ghana. Bills, financing your needs. Terms and conditions apply.
3FM 92.7 Urban Lifestyle Radio Station.
You're so held the Midday News on 3FM 92.7. Thank you for staying. Now, the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagbin, has expressed disappointment in President Afful Adu for failing to show exemplary leadership in managing the affairs of the country. In an exclusive interview with us, Alban Bagbin urged the first gentleman of the land to stamp his foot on the ground on issues that affect citizens.
Most of those people definitely will not buy what the politicians are saying now. But you've heard it many times. And as they said, the failure of His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa has given almost fatal blow to the trust of Ghanaians in the democratic process. But so many people believed in him that he was going to make a difference. Unfortunately, he has disappointed all of them.
Even on the level of economy?
Yes. Even his followers in his own party really don't believe in him again. I describe him as a lame duck, and he wasn't happy with that description.
Why did you describe him that way?
That is the statement of fact.
Why did you describe him that way?
None of his party members is looking up to him for leadership. And authority has moved from his hand, and they are looking for where to position it now. So most of what he's doing, his people are not in support.
So what you're saying is that even with the explanation of COVID-19 pandemic and the Russia-Ukraine war, which is still raging, you do not think that the government has been able to handle the economy much or well?
Those things you mentioned, were they only things meant to affect Ghana? What about the other countries? Are they in this state? What about the Ukraine itself or the Russia? Those warring factions. What is the state of their economy there?
So what is our problem?
It's leadership. That is the problem of Africa. It's leadership. And our definition of leadership is different from the others. And so we keep on making mistakes because we only listen to those who are in the position to deceive us and cajole us to believe in them. We don't even take a step backwards to analyze where they came from.
Why don't we?
Well, it's basically because of lack of information. The fact that we've not been able to educate ourselves. When I talk about education, I'm not talking about formal education, read and write. No. Even informal education in the family. We've not been able to imbibe the values that build integrity. Not just integrity in the person, like honesty, but also in our systems. And so we rather glorify people who have developed skills to defraud, cheat, and deceive us.
And you heard that the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagbin, the flag bearer of the governing New Patriotic Party, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, is also this afternoon giving his Greater Accra regional tour another push as he campaigns in the Ashaiman, Ayawaso North and Ayawaso East constituencies. Trumpeting the achievement of the MPP, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia said that the electorate is asking the electorate to vote for him come December 7, and will be joining Cosby very shortly. But Komla Kluche is following John Mahama, who is also in the Greater Accra region. He joins us live on the line. Komla, what can you tell us from this tour?
Well, it's quite a tall order for John Mahama today because he's talking about 4 constituencies on the second leg of the second leg of his three-tier
tour of the Greater Accra region. But John Mahama has been raised on what he has described as the hypocrisy that has plunged the country into where it is now. To the extent that for him, Dr. Bawumia calls one religious institution to the other, but it's not been able to be called out, especially him going to the shrine, to the mosque and all that. And people see the wrong but are unable to tell him the truth as what is affecting the country as of yet. And he believes that until people face the reality and tell the leaders what it is, the country will continue to face the challenges. He also makes the point that if it was the NDC administration that the current corruption issues were at stake, the NDC government would have had an overthrow by the military by now. Let's listen to John Mahama if you have that soundbite.
No, I don't think we do have that. But Komla, what more can you tell us?
Well, the areas John Mahama is going to be visiting today, rightly so, I will just go through them quickly for you. He is currently in the Shai Osudu Food District, specifically the Society Alsu Park. He would be holding community engagement in Dodowa, also in Punkataman, so that's around Olibi, a mini Deba in Oyarifa, engagement with the Madina Zongo community, and also an engagement at Hacho in the Domi Kodinya constituency. Then there will be a rally at the Domi Park, also in the Domi Kodinya constituency. So our 4 constituencies, John Mahama will be covering today, and shortly after that, we'll head to the Afful region.
Thank you very much, Komla Klucha. He's following the former President John Mahama as he tours the Greater Accra region. Let's bring you some other issues. And a former Dean of Medical Science at Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, Professor Daniel Anson, has called for enhanced training for public health professionals to tackle the health dangers posed by the Galamsey menace. He says that heavy metal exposure from Galamsey activities pose serious health risks to both adults and children. Listen to what he said.
As a public health institution, they need to be training public health professionals who can be able to work and find out problems that Galamsey is associated with, both right from childhood to adulthood. Exposure to certain heavy chemicals can harm the human being. And therefore, as a public health institution, it will be good for them to have initiatives into training and building capacities for their professionals to be able to conduct scientific research into the areas of illegal mining.
Well, the president, Professor Stephen Alder, that's the president of the group, called on the government to address the Galamsey crisis.
Our recommendation is to be able to have assistance in providing that systematic understanding and look at those points where effective change can occur. Too often, I think, as we're trying to make changes, whether it's this or other issues, we look at the surface, yet we don't get to the very heart of the matter. And so understanding what is behind the activity, what is leading to the pollution that comes from this, what is continuing this type of activity, we need to understand it so we can find solutions that will not only bring an end to it, but find a way out that provides constructive avenues for those who are currently involved in this practice.
And you heard Professor Stephen Alder. He's the president of the Ensign Global College. Now, the former minority leader Haruna Iddrisu has promised that the NDC administration will give permit to youth in the Upper West region to mine gold. Haruna Iddrisu was addressing members of the NDC in that region during the campaign launch of the parliamentary candidate for Nadoli Kalio, Anthony Suma. And we don't have that sound yet. You're still here on the Midday News on 3FM 92.7. Let's listen to the former minority leader Haruna Iddrisu make that comment.
Are here. There are gold deposits or rich mineral deposits in this area. The young people here deserve better, good quality. So so all the NDC want from the youth here, tomorrow we will give you an opportunity to mine here, but you must mine it responsibly, in a manner that does not threaten livelihood but improve livelihoods.
And you had the former minority leader Haruna Idrisu. Now, Vice Presidential candidate of the governing New Patriotic Party, Dr. Matthew Poku-Prempeh, is also charging political parties to end the rhetoric on illegal mining by demonstrating commitment in the fight. Listen to what he said at the 13th Biennial Delegate Conference of the Association of Methodist Fellowship at the KNUST.
Certainly, no party must be allowed to mine irresponsibly and illegally. Two, no matter what, nobody should be permitted to mine the river. Three, we are not a lawless country that everybody thinks because of strength, go and catch part of the country and say I'm prospecting for gold. We should all live within the law. Small-scale mining and responsible mining is good. Because the good law put more gold than this land than anything else. Why? Because that resource should be used for the development of the country, not for the destruction of the country. We should hear your voices. If even though the parties close, it will be like a few years back.
You heard the NPP running mate, Dr. Matthew Poku-Prempeh. Now, the Senior Staff Association of Universities of Ghana is on a nationwide strike beginning today, Monday, September 16, over the government failure to address the demands of members for improved working conditions. The association expressed frustration over the government's inability to fulfill previous agreement despite several protests prior to the agreement. Now, Evelyn Tigma is there. She joins us live on the line. Evelyn, I know you've been to the university campus. What can you tell us from there? Hello, Evelyn. Hello.
Hello, Beatrice.
What can you tell us?
Beatrice, so the strike is on here as I speak to you. We've been on campus at the University of Ghana campus, and there's nothing going on here. We know the senior staff, and they are basically, like, for me to say, like the middle people. They are the people who work in...
We just lost Evelyn Tigma there. We'll bring you more of that later. And that's it for the news here on 3FM 92.7. My name is Beatrice Adu. Thank you very much for joining us today. Log on to 3news.com for more news. Have a good afternoon.
FM 92.7, Urban Lifestyle Radio Station.
Africa, are you ready? The countdown to the most explosive Afro experience of the year has begun. It's the 3FM Afro Connect 2024, happening live on Saturday, 21st September at the monumental Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park. It promises to be a day filled with a display of Africa's dynamic cultures, pulsating beats, electrifying performances, and pure Afro vibes. Come and experience the infectious energy of Africa's great people in the most iconic food battle of the continent, the Jollof Wars. Which African country takes home the crown for the best jollof? You don't want to miss this epic celebration of Africa. The 3FM Afro Connect, 21st September at the Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park, Accra. Feel the pulse. Feel the vibe of Africa. Are you a vendor or international exhibitor? This is your moment. Come and showcase your unique products to thousands of culture lovers from around the world. Call 0532 200 927 or 0531 100 927 right now. 3FM AfroConnect 2024, where Africa meets the rest of the world. Sponsored by Fortune Ride, Frital Oil, Bills Microcredit, and
Fidelity Bank, Flora Tissue, and Dewa Chop Money.
And powered by 3FM with the Media General Group. Follow us at 3FM 927 for more. 3FM 92.7, your urban lifestyle radio.
Imagine a place where voices matter, where every corner, every street, every community is a platform.
A big bus moving through Accra, carrying conversations, questions, and the pulse of the nation. This is not just another show, it's your voice on the move.
Join us as 3FM Sunrise hits the road, turning ordinary streets into platforms for extraordinary dialogue. Speak freely, listen deeply, and help shape the conversation that drives Ghana forward.
Look out for the bus and tune in exclusively on 3FM 92.7, your urban lifestyle radio.
FM 92.7, urban lifestyle radio station.
Hello there, good afternoon and welcome to Business Daily here on 3FM 92.7. Coming up, Institute for Energy Security, IES, anticipates much relief for petroleum consumers as it projects prices to drop by 2% from 2% in second pricing window. Ahead, we'll hear from research analyst Adam Yakubu.
This comes at the time international price of petroleum products have seen a free fall with varying falls of different prices.
And government treasury bills finally see oversubscription after 10-week driven by strong demand for 91-day bill, with yields marginally increasing. We'll bring you details of that. My name is Manu. Afful, do stay tuned. Well, now let's begin with fuel prices. They are expected to decrease by between 2% and 5% in the second pricing window of September 2024, according to research analyst at the Institute for Energy Security, Adam Yakubu. This anticipated reduction is due to a significant drop in the international prices of refined petroleum products and the slower depreciation of the Ghana cedi. He added that the decline will provide some much-needed relief to consumers amid ongoing economic pressures, with petrol, diesel and LPG prices set to drop in the coming days.
This comes at the time international price of petroleum products have seen a free fall with varying falls of different prices for the individual petroleum products. Specifically, when monitoring the international fuels market, gasoline did see its price fall by some 10.62%. Gas oil did see its price fall around 6%, and LPG fell by some 2.64%. The Ghana cedi, for the first time, has recorded its slowest depreciation by some 0.09%. The cumulative effect of these two measures of a slow currency depreciation realized in the first pricing window for September, coupled by the significant price falls that have been realized over the last 2 weeks. The IES is anticipating prices to fall on the local fuels markets, and so consumers are to see in the coming days some respite being felt at the pumps.
That was research analyst at the Institute for Energy Security, Adam Yakubu Day. Meanwhile, Executive Director of the Center for Environmental Management and Sustainable Energy, Benjamin Insia, has encouraged government to address the cedi's volatility. He has highlighted that consumers would have benefited significantly lower fuel prices at local pumps if the cedi had remained stable. Oil prices experienced a sharp decline, with Brent crude selling below $73, the lowest level of the year.
Petroleum users have not seen a significant decline in export prices because of the depreciation of the currency. The Bank of Ghana should use all these instruments to ensure the stability of the cedi. If the cedi continues to be stable, then petroleum users should expect a price decline of finished product at the retail outlets in the coming weeks and also in the coming months. For example, if you look at finished products for the next window, which begins from 16th, prices are likely to decline further. However, this price decline depends on the stability of the cedi. If the cedi continues to be stable or even appreciates against the dollar, then it means that prices are likely to decline further than or more than the projection.
You heard Executive Director of the Center for Environmental Management and Sustainable Energy, Benjamin Insia, there. Now, after 10 weeks of consistent undersubscriptions, government's treasury bills have finally recorded an oversubscription in its sale. However, a high price had to be paid for the 91-day bill, from which a chunk of the bids was realized. The following 3 Business News Desk report has details. Exceeding its target by over 2%, government realized over 5.52 billion cedis from the sale of the bills, with a chunk from the 91-day bill. All bids tendered were accepted. From the 91-day bill, government received bids worth approximately 4.7 billion cedis, constituting about 84% of the total bids. For the 182-day bill, 594 million cedis was realized, whilst 245.74 million cedis was earned from the sale of the 364-day bills. Government exceeded its target by about 2.4%. Yields on the 91-day bill went up marginally, while that of the 182-day bill and 364-day bills declined slightly. That of the 91-day bill was 24.91%, higher than the 24.9% recorded previously. Interest rates on the 182-day bill went down by 2 basis points to 26.78%, whereas that of the 364-day bill also declined to 28.07% from the previous week's 27.91%. Inflation eased marginally last week, and some market watchers believe it could potentially push interest rates down, although slowly. That was a 3 Business News Desk report. Now, the Association of Young Insurance Professionals Ghana chapter has strongly condemned the ongoing illegal mining activities known as galamsey across the country. The group warns that these operations are not only damaging the environment, but also threatening the future of Ghana's economy and sustainable development. Speaking to 3 Business, Country Director Lawrence Daniels called on government to take swift and decisive actions to halt the practice and protect the nation's natural resources.
As stakeholders in the insurance industry, we are more worried about the devastating effects of illegal mining. The encroachment of the soil and water resources hinders economic activities, thereby interfering with agriculture, tourism, and other small-scale industries. Consequently, environmental degradation is also a major threat to the insurance because with it can bring in catastrophes like floods, landslide, and some imposing a more hazardous risk scenario for the insurance industry. In that regard, we have to stand against this continuous menace of galamsey. We can't allow this to continue, and as one body and as one voice, as young insurance professionals and the youth for the future, we stand against illegal mining in Ghana.
You heard the voice of Country Director of the Association of Young Insurance Professionals, Lawrence Daniels, there. Well, before we go, our headlines: Institute for Energy Security, IES, anticipates much relief for petroleum consumers as it projects price drop by 2% to 5% in second pricing window. Also, government treasury bills finally see oversubscription after 10 weeks, driven by strong demand for 91-day bill, with the yields marginally increasing increasing. Well, that's it for Business Daily here on 3FM 92.7. For more stories, kindly check out our website. It's www.3news.com. My name is Manu. Afful. Do stay tuned. Urban Blend is up next with Black Rasta.